We don't need no fancy words. I mean, we need to practice. We need to rehearse.
I'll tell you what we need. We need some paying gigs. We don't need this messing around, first one patio and then another, and that's ridiculous.
Amen.
We don't got no goddamn band. We don't need fucking practice with you.
Hello and welcome to the No GD Band podcast. I'm Chris, and as you may have noticed, there's no Henry tonight. It's just me. I'm taping the intro by myself. We had very special circumstances come up this week that changed things a little bit. We do have a full episode, so stick around for that. Regular episode with both me and Henry. But the intro is going to be a little bit different tonight because we were very fortunate to have the chance to interview Mr. Tommy Stinson, the bass player of The Replacements. One of mine and Henry's favorite bands of all time. I think one of the 10 best American bands of all time. Definitely one of the 10 best indie bands of all time. But we got the opportunity to do that through Josh Robbins here in town, who is in a band called Late Bloomer, a great Charlotte band, who's also going to be on the program in April. He's also runs a little label here in Charlotte called Self-Aware Records. And his drummer is the owner of Lunchbox Records, which is a record store, a great record store here in Charlotte. They are going to be hosting Tommy Stinson and Chip Roberts. They're going by the name Cowboys in the Campfire, but they're going on a little tour playing record stores around the country. And they're playing in Charlotte this Wednesday night, March 7th at 7 p.m. So to promote that show, we were given the chance to do a phone interview. I want to thank Josh for allowing us to do that and hooking us up last minute. I was out of town at the time that this had to go down, so Henry had to handle it by himself. I think he did a great job. Thanks, Henry, for doing that, especially since this is one, his first phone interview for the podcast, and two, he's pretty much interviewing one of his top 5 heroes of all time. So I'm sure there was a bit of nerves there, but Henry handled it great and did a great job. So you'll hear that first coming up, and then afterwards there's just going to be the regular episode the rest of the way, so stick around for that. Before the interview, I'm going to just play a quick song. I'm going to play my favorite Replacement song. For those of you out there who maybe haven't been exposed to Replacements, I can't imagine that's the case, but if it is, I'm going to play the song I Will Dare and go straight into Henry's interview with Tommy Stinson. Again, the show is at Lunchbox Records this Wednesday, March 7th at 7 p.m., and this is I Will Dare by The Replacements.
My advice. Are you excited about coming down south?
Yeah, and there's a lot of reasons behind being excited about it. I'll tell you that.
Tell me about that.
I just sold my house, and I am
You sold the house?
officially homeless. I sold my house. I'm basically now homeless.
Now you're living in New York, right?
Yeah, I live in upstate New York in a place called Hudson, New York, and I like it up there a whole lot, but I had to sell my house because I wanted to get onto a quieter street. I had a studio in my house, and the street that I lived on got so noisy with truck traffic suddenly that I had to sell it. And it's been on sale for a while. So finally sold it. I moved all my shit out this last month, and now I'm homeless. And so I'm looking forward to my, sort of paid vacation.
Paid like for a month. Like you've got like 16 dates coming up.
Yeah.
In March, and so I guess, are you totally doing this sort of like Jamaica style, like the Minutemen on the road?
It's me and my Uncle Chip. Or my buddy Chip, I should say. Not really my uncle by blood necessarily, but he is sort of my Uncle Chip by marriage and divorce. It's him and I in a van and some guitars, and we're doing these sort of intimate shows where, it's either a house party or a record store or a restaurant or a brewery, things like that, just to make it more intimate, make it sort of a, more interesting experience for us and for the people that, come. And because we're trying to build this Cowboys in the Campfire, brand, as they say.
Yeah.
And we thought, because we thought it was just the two of us, let's start small, get people into it, play some interesting, weirder gigs, and then, build it up from there and put out a record. So when we get home from this little run, we're gonna put the final touches on a single that'll come out this summer.
Is it different for you playing bass or playing for a smaller group than it is like playing bass for the cheap seats and a bigger place?
I kind of, I do my thing no matter how I do it, whatever it is. And I was telling someone this the other day that I like to do what I can to keep what I do interesting. So whether I'm playing in Bash and Pop or I'm playing, Cowboys in the Campfire, or if it's the replace, whatever, I like to change things up. I have a sort of a short attention span. So it's good for me to, to have different things to do. These things are the Cowboys in the Campfire and Bash and Pop are probably going to be my mainstays for a good while, because I'm seeding both of them, equally, and they both are good for me and both are enjoyable. So I get two different things I'm doing.
You strike me as a guy that sort of has to stay on the move a lot. Would that be right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like when the old days, when in probably the late 80s, early 90s, really all you had of a guy was like you could pick up the record and I could see you on the cover of Let It Be and all of that, and maybe catch a brief snippet of you in the video, but you really don't get an understanding of like maybe the kind of guy you are, or what you talk like, or how you move around in the world. But thanks to the internet and all of that, like we can sort of see that now. It's almost like more transparent, but it sort of takes away some of the mystery in a way, don't you think?
Well, it does to a
like a trade-off.
But I think it's a good trade, because I think that in a lot of ways the whole mystique of the rock star and the fucking star of this or the fucking movie star of that, all that kind of crap, I think it perpetuates an untenable image. And I think because we all change and we all grow and all these different things, I think it creates sort of a, kind of a false read in a way. And I think that these days people want to know who's singing this song to them. They want to know that more. I don't think I get the feeling in general that I think people want to know a little more about, who's singing the song to them and who's, what their deal is more, and I think that's a totally good thing.
Yeah. I know that I have a daughter too. You have two daughters, I think.
Yeah.
The daughter's 12. So I'm
there
thinking,
you go, right in the...
like you. Well, I'm thinking you must be dealing with some of the same stuff I might be too. With like,
oh yeah.
What's it like? I mean, do you ever wonder what's it like to grow up in a world where like every record you've ever heard of is available, like at your fingertips?
I'll tell you. I'll tell you exactly fucking how I feel about that. I'll tell you because I just fucking sold my entire CD and record collection to a friend of mine that's got a record store.
You did not really. So you got.
I did. I got rid of all of it because I'm moving, and I thought, why would I keep all this extra CDs? And I didn't really, and I kept the vinyl that I knew I wanted to keep. I'm like, why would I keep all this stuff when I can just fucking pull it up on my fucking computer or my iPhone? It's just extra stuff at this point.
You're right, I know, but then it's like I keep thinking to myself, it's sort of a part of my history. Like I put it up in the attic, but I'm thinking, if I move again, it's just extra weight that I'm carrying around.
Dude, that's fucking the whole goddamn thing, man. I had probably 1,000 fucking CDs and I didn't have much of a vinyl collection because my kids, my littlest one, Tallulah, I mean, they started playing Legos on the turntable, so I had to, that didn't work out so well for me to have a turntable. But I was kind of going, why am I going to lug this shit around? And I hate to say that because I do also like I can't read books online. I got to have a tactile book to read. I like that feeling of having a piece of physical stuff on. And I do like having, I do also like having, a tactile record and a CD. But what I realized recently is like, most of what I listen to when I listen to music, I'm listening onto my computer, my big computer, which I record on and things like this with really nice speakers and all this stuff. And I realized it doesn't have a fucking CD drive in it.
Nope.
So I gotta do all this extra stuff to bounce it down so I can listen on this and that and the other thing. And I just never kind of get around to it. I just pull the song up on the fucking internet and like, okay, there it is. I listen to it. Cool. That was that.
Just as good.
Yeah, and it's just the way the world is changing. I think the only thing I'm missing out on, and I'm going to get into this again at some point, is that vinyl has made a big comeback, and I love. Oh. I've got a good amount of fucking real vinyl records that I like, that Terry Reid and things like this that mean something to me. At some point, I'll probably get back into getting a nice fucking stereo and listen to vinyl again.
My friend Chris, who's like the partner with me on this little podcast we're doing, is he has vinyl, all over the place. And my daughter, she there's some value in it to her for whatever reason. She likes having vinyl records, even though she has Spotify and everything else at her fingertips.
Well, and that's a great thing. That just happened. That just happened recently, though, where people are kind of going, wow, these vinyl records, they actually sound a lot better, and there's a tactile, like I said, tactile thing to it,
Yes, I think
it's a whole thing.
Mm-hmm. It's like part of a larger rebellion, I think, trying to pull away from these electronic things and finding stuff that seems real, and that has relevance.
And I'm all into that. I think it's a fucking fantastic thing. I remember. I remember the reason why it's sort of a little bit of a bittersweet thing with the vinyl thing is that the last Replacements record, Warner Brothers decided that they were going to only make CDs of, and our whole fan base was still buying vinyl. And it's like Don't Tell a Soul was the last vinyl record they made for us, or that we made for them, I should say. And
they did not put All Shut Down on vinyl. I didn't know that.
No, it came out in European. It came out in German vinyl, which sounded fucking incredible. But the bit rates for fucking digital media at that point was fucking terrible, and the fucking CD players were like $500. So you were fucking just any fan that wanted to buy our fucking new record either had to buy the fucking German import or buy the fucking the CD, and then hopefully I had a CD player. We got so screwed on that. And I completely feel like we got fucked on that. And so many other artists probably as well, because Warner Brothers and other labels were going, yeah, we're done with the vinyl. We got this new technology coming out and blah, blah. But the reality is the bit rates in that for digital media, then the CD because I had to get a CD player. I got one, and I also had the German import of that record, and I've A-B'd and beat them through the same fucking stereo. Fuck, it was. I mean, the sound quality was so fucking vastly different and so shitty on the CD side. The fucking German fucking vinyl import just sounded just beautiful, and like, you know, all the audio sounds that you'd hear, the guitars, acoustics, all the stuff that I remember making the record with sounded great. And then fucking I got the CD that everyone's getting that's the mass fucking media right now. Really? Thanks. Because it sucked. It sounded terrible originally. They've since remastered it and all that stuff, but fuck, it was fucking horrible. And to be in that position where it's like, okay, this is our, who's going to be our make and break record kind of thing, if you will. We just got fucked out of the gate, you know.
Story of your life, right?
Yeah, totally. Oh, kidding me?
Well, tell me about Chip Robert. I know that he played on, I think it's a Bash and Pop song or two.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. He's been my good buddy for like 10, almost 11 years now, probably. And I met him because my ex-wife, he's my ex-wife's uncle. And And I finished a One Man Mutiny record in his house, in his basement with him.
Was it that record he was on that I'm thinking of, and not okay?
Oh no, he's on both. He's on the Bash Pop record as well. And so when I bought my house in Hudson, New York, and went up there and started making that thing, him and I we're writing together, and have been for a long time. Hence, since we're touring with fucking Cowboys in the Campfire finally. But it was, he's been my good buddy, but he's also been one of my writing partners for 11 years.
Where does the Sippy come from? Is that just a nickname?
Well, it's fucking, we're hanging out and getting in the cups a little bit.
Oh, I got it.
Sippy.
So I'm thinking, in my mind's eye, I'm thinking of you guys driving down the road with your probably acoustic guitars and stuff. And he's selling rub at the shows, right? Like meat rub.
Oh, yeah. What it is it's a blend of spices that, because he was a master chef and has opened restaurants and stuff like this. He made a blend that it's all purpose blend kind of thing that you can basically put it on anything. It'll taste infinitely better. You can put it on your cornflakes if you want. It'll fucking make them taste better. It's that kind of thing.
So I mean, playing record. I mean, you might be making the last pass of these record stores. I don't know if they're dying out or coming back. I see you're playing.
I think they're. I tell you what, man. I think they're coming back. I think that I've seen this going down for the last 15 years in a particular way, where record stores are kind of going out, and then now people are starting to buy vinyl again, and in a kind of not even a nostalgic way, more that they just liked it. Like you said, it's just like a funny thing. People like vinyl now again, and it's made a major comeback. I think there's more record stores coming out now. We've been playing a bunch of them, and newer record stores, and some places that have been open forever, but newer ones that are doing great.
So when's the Cowboys record coming out? When are you doing that?
Well, when we get back off this road trip here, I was just talking to Tip at the bar about this, actually. When we get off this road trip here, we're going to put the final touches on the little group of songs that we got to make either a single or an EP to put out probably by summer, and then we'll do 3 months later we'll put out another one, and just kind of start building on that, and then we'll follow that up with probably a full length.
Well, man, I have
vinyl only.
Oh. Well, man, I have to tell you, I'd never thought in a million years that I'd actually be able to get you on the phone and have a conversation with you about this kind of stuff. And I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. I'll say this. It's going to sound really fanboy and shit, but I'm going to say it anyway. The work that you did as a young person with the records that you put out made me feel more comfortable being weird, and it had meaning and relevance.
That's fantastic. I love that as a closing note. I love that.
the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. No, don't ask why. For we must find the next whiskey bar. Or if we don't find the next whiskey bar, I tell you we must die.
All right, we're back. So we actually went together to the ABC store and bought this. So it's not like one of us picked this out. Although I think you were kind of against it.
A little bit, mostly because I'm so cheap. But this stuff is called...
Henry is a co-host of a whiskey podcast, and he really doesn't want to spend more than $30 on a bottle of whiskey.
30 is like high 30 is high cotton for me. I need to write that down. High cotton.
High cotton, yeah. That'll come in later.
I wonder if that's mildly racist.
Mildly? I think it's pretty...
We're in high cotton.
I think it's pretty racist, even especially the way you put it.
No, that's like plantation-y, right? But not...
Yeah, and I love the way you put an extra
specifically.
little something in it when you say it.
That extra sort of...
Like...
We in high cotton now.
The
son.
minute you say it, I see you in a seersucker suit.
I don't know.
So what's
What we have here is a failure to communicate.
Oh, so you're doing the guy from Cool Hand Luke.
This stuff is called Sagamore Spirit Rye American Whiskey. It's pretty good.
I love rye.
It's
I'm
not
a rye
bad.
guy.
I think that might be it. This might be our new favorite.
I don't know, that Crown Reserve.
Crown Reserve was good, but it wasn't like too sweet.
No.
Or too smooth.
Right.
This is some good stuff. I need to remember that I like rye American whiskey.
All right.
So good on you, Sagamore Spirit.
And hey, let me say this. No, I'll leave it for the next
And
segment.
with the connoisseur I am, after having drunk a lot of whiskey, I detect undercurrents of...
That's what I was going to say. I was saying for Mark, I think we need to do part of what we need to do is describe the bouquet. I think he actually used the word bouquet, didn't he?
I smell resentment, a little bit of empathy,
some fear.
Just a very light note coming off the top. Some people smell citrus. I smell aluminum.
Is that apathy I smell?
Apathy. The smell of apathy. This is batch. It's written on as if it looks handwritten. Batch 3G.
I noticed that too.
Bottle 967.
You should put a picture of that up on the. So yeah, right in the corner of each label, they've got this I think it's fake looking handwritten note to make you think, oh shit, this is some big time stuff right here. Anyway, it's Sagamore Spirit, and it gets 2 thumbs up from us, right?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
All right, let's go to our main segment.
Oh, show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. No, don't ask why. For we must find the next whiskey bar. Or if we don't find the next whiskey bar, I tell you we must die.
All right, we're back. So I'm going out on a limb here, Henry. I haven't done this before. Mm-hmm. So the other night, I had a dream that the main segment was about a particular topic. So when I woke up, got fully awake, and thought about this topic, it seemed like a turd to me. But I'm gonna trust the dream and go with it. So the topic is gonna be words. And before we get way into the words, I want to do something else we've never done before. I want to play a YouTube clip.
Like a YouTube? Oh yeah, you mean like the audio bit?
The audio bit of something about words. So here it is.
Okay.
Dear Americans, as you know, everyone in Britain knows the Queen, and she's asked me to have a quick word with you on her behalf about her English. Don't worry, this isn't the standard tedious British sneering about lieutenants and aluminum. Essentially, her message is, use it how you like. She doesn't mind. She doesn't mind about the sensible ones, like spelling plough the way it quite obviously should be spelt, but nor does she mind about the silly ones, like saying tidbit, because you think the syllable tit is intrinsically rude. By all means, leave the U out of colour if it bothers you. I can quite see that the bit of a car you put stuff in looks more like a trunk than a boot, and that sidewalks are the bit at the side that you walk on. Fine, says the Queen. Help yourself. She couldn't care less. She couldn't care less, though. Not she could care less. That's the one thing she'd really like you to stop saying. Because that, as an expression for not or hardly caring, just makes no sense. If you could care less about something, then all you're telling us is that you do care at least a little bit. Because you could care less. But if you couldn't care less... Look, observe this graph. Here's me on the scale of caring. I'm at 0. Therefore, since negative caring is impossible, or rather is simply caring of another sort, love and hate being different sides of the same coin, etc., I couldn't care less. I could care more, but I couldn't care less. If I could care less, I would have to care at least the smallest possible unit of caring in order to give myself room to care less. I can't care nothing if I could care less. But I might care much more than nothing. I could care anything from here to here. And I could still truthfully claim to be able to care less. I could care less is absolutely useless as an indicator of how much you care, because the only thing it rules out is that you don't care at all, which is exactly what you're trying to convey. So that's the one thing the Queen really wants you to stop saying. Although while I've got you, the expression is, can you hold the fort? Not hold down the fort. If I ask you to hold the fort, the metaphor I'm employing is perfectly clear. You and I are in the fort together, holding out against the enemies of the fort who are besieging the fort. I now have to pop out of the fort for a bit to get some printer toner or take the cat to the vet. While I do this, don't worry about how I'll get past the besieging enemy. I have a secret tunnel and a false beard. While I do this, I want you to hold the fort so that when I come back, we'll both still have the fort. A perfectly reasonable metaphor embodying a sound military strategy. If I ask you to hold down the fort, what the hell am I talking about? Hold down the fort while I go out? Because, as you know, it's an inflatable hover fort, and once relieved of my weight, it might float off into the sky. Hold down the fort, and when I get back, the two of us can tickle the fort. No, meaningless. Stop it. But those are the only two things. Stop doing those and you can say research and Bernard to your heart's content. Although herbs, really? You're French now, are you? With your herbal tea and your herbal remedies? Well, fine. Whatever makes you happy. I could care less.
So words.
So
That's our intro to words.
So we've got words that we should use less.
That's where I thought we'd start.
Yes.
That would be a good place to start. Words that we should use less.
Like.
Right.
I
don't know. Do you notice it a lot? I noticed it. And I say it a lot.
I noticed it when I started monitoring my own speech.
I'll tell you what blows my mind about it is when we use it to say the exact thing we're talking about, but we modify it with like when we don't mean.
It's become a pause for effect or an extra
But when I tell you,
syllable
it was
for-
like when I went out and got in the car, and I'm actually telling you I went out and got in a car. What is the use of the word like?
It's to make a space for me to have a reaction moment.
It's weird though.
So I was like, and then that thing, whatever it is,
Sure.
the head going like,
Yes.
I was like,
And I get that, and as a placeholder, it's
a way
kind
to
of
go,
weird.
Pow.
But then we also use it to say the exact same thing. It was like I was having dinner, and then such and such walked in, and you would ask me, "Well, were you having dinner?" Yeah. You wouldn't even ask me. You would know I meant I was having dinner, even though I said it was like I was having dinner.
Because the word doesn't even mean
it doesn't
that
mean
anymore.
anything. I don't even know that people hear it. So that's one.
Also,
Literally is another one. When you say, I literally was doing something, you don't have to say that. All you have to say is you were doing it.
well, what if it was questionable as to whether or not you
If
were,
I said, I just went for a swim,
I was literally going for a swim. What is the alternative to not going for a swim?
you wouldn't say, I just went for a swim.
When
So
somebody said,
tell me, so give me one with literally. Give me one.
I was literally just sitting there.
Okay, now tell me you were just sitting there.
I was just sitting there.
So what's the difference?
It means I'm trying to explain what it means to the person who said it.
It's useless. It's verbal diarrhea. It's not.
No,
There's no
it's
use
meant to
for it.
modify it some way. It's meant to modify what I'm saying to you.
No,
So-
Henry. I just went swimming.
Right. There's nothing else. There's no other hidden agenda that you had. There's no other bits
But I just did
to
that.
be talked about. I was literally just sitting here.
But I just did it without using the word literally. I just modified it without the word literally.
Right. But I'm saying that's what it's going to mean.
But what's the point of it? I just modified it without the word literally.
That means there's no extra bullshit. There's no...
But you're using extra bullshit to say there's no extra bullshit. I'll tell you another one that's kind of overused. Ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
People say ridiculous too much.
It's ridiculous.
It's kind of like one of those words.
It's just ridiculous. Thanks,
It just
Kanye.
means a lot of different... I don't know.
That's ridiculous. It can be negative ridiculous. It could be positive ridiculous. He's ridiculous.
I know one just because I've heard
It's
it already.
mostly negative. There's no positive ridiculous anymore.
Oh, yes, there is.
What?
Oh, did you see Sean White's final run on the snowboard?
That was ridiculous.
That shit was ridiculous.
Nobody uses it like that.
Snowboarders still do, I think. I don't hear the word. You put queen on the list. I don't even hear that used as much.
No, yas, queen.
I don't know what that is. I never heard that.
Do you live in 2018?
I never heard that.
Yas, queen.
What is that?
You've never heard yas, queen.
Is that like a different language?
Are you
what are you
shitting
talking
me?
about? Yas queen.
Yas, queen. You don't know yas,
I
queen?
don't know what that means. Where have you heard that?
Holy shit, dude.
I don't know that one.
You're the big rock star of the two of us. And you should be closer to youth culture than me. I know. Yas, queen.
I like how when it doesn't benefit me, you call me a rock star, but
That's
when
true.
it does benefit me, you call me some second-rate bullshit hack.
I never call you second-rate bullshit.
Are people not able to say whole words anymore? Is that the problem? I don't even know what this yas queen shit. What's the contraction for?
Yes, queen.
Why is yes so hard to say? It's only
Yes.
3 letter.
Well, yes, queen. Something cool happens.
Do you feel like that's the kind of thing that
You know,
in
like
25 years
those-
or 100 years we won't be able to understand the way people talk English because of shit like that?
I think it'll be weirdly... I think text has fucked us up. I think text messaging has caused us to distort the language in ways that we don't even think so.
What else?
I don't know
Jelly?
the
You put
etymology.
jelly on there.
Like jealous. You jelly?
And you think that should be used less?
Yes.
You don't like that?
I don't like people using jelly for jealous. What about totes?
Totes needs to be used less, yeah. That just sounds so bourgeois.
Totes.
You know what? Totes
Totes.
is like the bourgeois version of Yas Queen.
Misused words or phrases.
I like this category.
Me too.
You have to think a little bit on these. The first one, I wasn't even sure of when I found the list of misused words or phrases. And also, the gist of this is in proper English and is redundant. If you're saying, and also I went to the zoo, you can just say, also I went to the zoo. You don't need the word and.
So it's a misuse. So
it's a misuse of a phrase.
I swear I've probably read and also somewhere.
Oh, you have. It's a common phrase. It's a misuse. That's what I like. That's why. Yeah, that's why I put it on here because these are misused words or phrases that are commonly used. The next one is deep-seated. It's actually deep-seated.
Right.
Is the correct SEATED.
Not deep sea like you put it in the ground 5 feet down. You better dig, son. You got to put that seed deep. You know what I'm saying?
Now, is that one?
That sounded vaguely sexual.
It did. But have you always known the difference in those two? Or would you I've always thought it was deep, SEATED.
I would have, when I saw deep-seated, planting the seed deep in the ground, and I know that's not what it is.
Me too. I was like, I think I thought of the word, what the word meant. And I was like, it can't be seated. They must be saying it wrong because it's seated.
And if something is deep-seated,
it means it's rooted in there.
It's rooted.
Yeah.
Which would make sense, somebody to think deep-seated, mute versus...
Okay, this is my buzz.
If you had a mute court, that would really suck.
So here's what we do
How do you argue a case in mute court?
Here's what we're going to do this year in moot court. Nobody say a fucking word.
First of all, we'd like to hear from the prosecution. Yeah, I could totally see why that would be annoying.
A moot point, even,
A
too.
moot point.
And people do that a lot. They say a mute point. That's a point.
That's a mute point.
That's a point that didn't make a point because it was mute. It was just quiet.
Could you explain this next one to me? I'm not sure I get it.
I didn't really know this one until I read about it. I mean, I knew it, but I didn't know it.
I'm not sure I know what IMMIGRATE means, immigrate. But what does EMIGRATE mean?
So this is an interesting one. So if you're talking about immigrate with an E, you're talking about leaving a country. So if you left Ireland to come to America, you immigrated with an E from Ireland. If you are talking about coming to America from Ireland, you immigrated with an I. So E immigrate is to leave. I immigrate is to come into.
Really?
I mean, I
never
kind
knew.
of theoretically knew that, but I never really thought about it.
Huh. So if I'm from the United States and I'm immigrating to Canada,
You're an immigrant with an E.
I am going to immigrate with an E.
But once you get to
Immigrant.
Canada and you tell people,
Once I get to Canada and I tell people
I'm an immigrant,
I'm an immigrant from the United States, then I'm an I. I immigrated. I immigrated from the United States to here.
yeah,
I had no idea.
I didn't either. That's crazy.
How would I have known that? I would have had to Google it.
You kind of knew it, though. You knew immigrate with an E was a word, though, didn't you?
Yeah, but they were both. I think I would have used them. I would have used the second spelling in either way.
Right.
I would have said IMMIGRATE.
All right, the next category we had about words are some new words or phrases that have entered the lexicon in the last five-ish years.
Why is crisis actor a new word?
It's a new phrase. It's a new phrase.
Really?
I thought you were going to call me on this because I thought you were going to go, both those words are old words, so it can't be a new. But what I meant was crisis actor has not really entered the lexicon until like the last decade, which I didn't think about that.
Because of all the Fox News people saying that things are hoaxes and whatever?
Yeah, it's my new favorite one, calling that kid a crisis actor.
Which is a fucking travesty, and you guys should be ashamed of that shit.
A child that actually witnessed the
Unfucking
Parkland
believable.
massacre. They called him a crisis actor. Bestie.
I don't like that word.
But it is a new word, but I don't
It
like it.
trivializes friendship. It does. Bestie.
It sounds like, you know what
my bestie.
You know what I think of when I hear the word bestie?
I'm not saying that in a way.
I see McDonald's every time I hear that word. It's like the McDLT of words. It's like a conjunction of words. The McDLT was kind of like not really a burger.
Hot side's hot, cold side cold.
But double the styrofoam. Do you remember? You got two styrofoam trays, not one, and they were joined with a piece of styrofoam in
And
the
the
middle.
novelty was that you could put them together.
You kept the hot side hot and the cold side cold.
Because that was so important.
And you could fuck the environment double. There's nothing left to do with a hamburger, but what if we just kept we kept the lettuce and the tomato like just room temperature over in this piece of styrofoam. And then they had to have a meeting about how are we going to join the styrofoams up. And some guy went,
2 halves.
what if we did styrofoam? Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
And the one for the McFish sandwich was like a different color. It was like blue.
I remember it because I hate fish sandwiches a lot.
You are a fucking... Henry Gordon was a fish fucking
Filet
sandwich.
of fish sandwich.
Man, that motherfucker would crush some filet of fish. I remember once we went at lunch from the hospital and you had a filet of fish and a coffee. You had... Was the Burger King one called the Whaler?
Oh, yeah, but that was not the filet of fish, the old filet of fish.
You love the Whaler. Okay,
Yeah.
woke. Woke to me sounds like a grenade word. Like when I hear woke, it just has so much more connotation to it than it should.
It's just some overly trendy way to say that you are down with the current mode of thinking.
I get
Right.
that, but it's like a word bomb. It's just like if you say I'm woke, you are like
He's woke.
right now. You're like
It's
oh,
also
shit.
vaguely urban.
I know, but it's just urban enough to be cool, and it's just like hip enough right now to be like, oh, he didn't just say woke.
Photobomb.
I hope it goes away like photobomb does.
Photobombs, nobody really talks about that anymore.
No, that's a done word.
Gender fluidity.
Yeah, gender fluidity.
He's gender fluid.
That's a new. I don't think we even thought.
That's a concept.
We didn't really think about that 5 years ago. Pre-Caitlin, I don't know that gender fluidity.
We're on the cusp of people being pansexual, right?
What- yeah, what- I think
when
I-
you're sexually attracted to people regardless of their gender.
Well, I think I heard on Tinder that there's like 47 different gender.
You mean 47 different sexual preferences?
No, gender identity,
There's really
not
only
sexual preferences.
maybe a few that I can think of. Male, female, transgendered. Male to female transgendered. Female to male transgendered. Right? Different gender. I mean, I get it. Okay, I know this is good. I'm going to get bitch slapped here. I can feel it.
I don't even know how to spell Tinder.
Tinder. Is that? It sounds
Is
like
it like Tinder, like the fire stick, or is it
Blur song?
or is it Tinder, like I want to hold you?
Tinder is the night.
What do Tinder's
by
37
your
new?
side.
So this is the first article comes up. What do Tinder's 37 new gender identity options mean?
Damn.
37 gender identities.
I need to look into that. I must be missing some sort of. Maybe I'm not really a man. Maybe I'm some other gender.
You want to hear some of them?
Yeah.
Agender. That's one word, not a gender, but a gender.
Huh.
Neither.
Neither?
Androgyny.
Okay.
Androgynous.
Okay.
Bigender.
Both genders.
Female to male. FTM. Male to female. FTM.
Oh, yeah. Female to male. Post and pre-op, post-op. Okay.
Gender fluid. Gender nonconforming. Gender questioning. Gender variant.
You're blowing my mind.
Gender queer / non-binary. How the fuck am I going to
get
find
the
anybody to fuck? I don't even know what any of these words mean.
Non-binary.
Gender variant. Male to female. MTF. Neutrosis. What is that?
Neutrosis.
Maybe I pronounced it wrong.
You made that shit up.
Neutrois. Neutrois? Neutrois is a non-binary gender identity that is considered to be neutral or null gender. It may be used to mean genderless and has considerable overlap with agender. Do these people even have sex? Are they on Tinder?
Clearly they are.
Okay,
My voice just went up 3 octaves.
I got trans.
What the hell?
I got trans man. I got trans feminine, trans masculine, transsexual, and I got two spirit.
God dang, dude.
I'm looking for a two spirit.
Two spirit?
Transgender male to
Two-spirit
to
to
hook up with
female
a
to male.
non-binary choice.
Do you exist out there?
No wonder it's complicated for the kids these days. Good Lord. Here's a good one. Happens a lot around here. Mansplaining.
I don't like that word. I'm catching a lot of shit about mansplaining.
Are you catching a lot of...
Yeah.
Mansplaining?
Don't mansplain that to me. Everything I do is mansplaining. If I try to explain anything to anyone that's not my gender,
If you talk...
it's mansplaining.
You know what you need to do when you go home?
What?
The next time you get accused of that, say, I'm not a man, I'm a Troyce. Go look that shit up.
How do you spell that?
I don't know.
Choice.
Is it
I'm not
Troyce?
a man, I'm a choice.
What is that? Let me look that one up again. I'm not a man, I'm a new Troyce. Neutrois. Just don't, I don't
I like
man-
this one a lot because it sounds like a superhero. Demi boy.
Demi boy. Is that on Tinder?
I don't know, but
you're gonna take
it's
it.
the next one down.
Demi boy.
Partial. A demi boy, also called demi guy, is someone whose gender identity is only partly male, regardless of their assigned gender at birth. They may or may not identify as another gender in addition to feeling partially a boy or a man. They may also define their identity as both male and genderless.
But not female.
Fucking perfect. I'm going to be a demi boy.
No. I'm not mansplaining. I'm demi boy splaining.
I'd be demi boy splaining. Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
All right, so let's do a few of our own favorite and least favorite words.
Yep.
I thought that would be fun.
Yep.
I like the word formica.
Why?
I don't know why I like formica. I also like the word nefarious. That's one I like because of what it represents. It just sounds perfect.
It's like worse than evil. It's nefarious.
Yeah, and if you told somebody that,
Or
and they
nefarious
like, if you told somebody that
agenda.
didn't speak English, that they were up to nefarious purposes, they would get it. They would be like.
But it also depends on how you say it.
I also saw this today for the first time. I didn't know this was a slang word. I just thought it was funny. Mellencamp.
I've never heard of that in my life.
A woman who is aged out of being a cougar is a mellencamp.
Well, a word that I like is require. Choir.
I can tell by the way you said it. You like it.
Choir.
I don't like.
It begs me to use an English accent with it.
You like the phrase "I don't take kindly to."
I do. I just like the way it sounds. Like when people do a thing.
I think the funnest part of this segment is not really the words. It's just like, what made you think that you like? What made you think of enough of the phrase "I don't take kindly to"?
I don't take kindly. I just like the way it sounds. I don't take. It sounds like like a song.
Very, very lyrical.
I don't take kindly.
I say, boy.
I see. That sounds awful. That's not the way I mean it. I don't take kindly to your remarks.
All right, let's do some least favorite words. I've never, since I was a kid, liked the word vegetable.
Vegetable.
I don't know whether. I think it's that. I think. Are you supposed to say vegetable or vegetable?
Vegetable.
I don't like the word lugubrious
Because it sounds like lube. An extra lube. It's like lube times 2.
It's like
lugubrious.
It's like a loogie.
Not only is it lubrication, but it's extra
loogie. It's like a loogie and a lubrication.
Lubrication.
Lugubrious.
My lubrications are all dried up.
I also don't like calling a.
God dang! I just said that.
You just said that.
Not only that, but I made up a word, lubrications, which ain't a word at all.
Oh boy, this is gonna be great. This turned out way better than I thought it would. I don't like former and latter.
Why is that?
Because I never knew which one was which.
The former is the first one. The latter is the second.
Yeah, I
one.
didn't learn that till this year when somebody told me F for first and L for last.
Former. Yeah.
But why can't we just say first and last then? Why did I have to make it all snooty and be like the former and the latter, so that regular people don't know what I'm talking about?
We're not be talking about things in ordinates. We might be talking about chronological.
I'm going to frame that sentence and hang it on the wall.
So you could say,
we're not talking about...
In 1910...
This
Roosevelt,
is the same guy that just made up the word.
1910, what did I say?
Something ran out of lugubriation.
Lugubriation.
You don't like the word pursuant.
No, God. And it goes back to when my parents were going through.
Your next one's pretty good. I don't like that.
They were going through their divorce and like pursuant to this court order or this court order, pursuant. The way your lips purse together is saying pursuant.
Pursuant to Article B, Section 8.
Pure.
So it represents the breaking of the home.
But also, it's like this shitty little nasal pursuant word. I hate that word.
Hubby.
Ugh. Oh. Doesn't that give you the creeps?
Yes, it does.
Hubby. My hubby said this. My hubby. And it has to be hubba, like really bad. Hubba. In your... You're so shitty.
You don't like the word melon. You've got some good ones in here. Melon. I don't... The next one's great, too. Panties. That just sounds terrible, doesn't it?
The word.
I'll tell you another one. It's bad that you didn't put on there.
It's bad because the way you say it.
Manties
in no
is
way,
bad, too.
In no way do you say panties, and it sounds good.
Or manties. If a girl tells you to take your manties off, she is not into you at all. You don't like the word podcast.
Podcast. What's a podcast? Do you have my podcast?
What do you like? What
would you like to listen to my podcast? Show is a lot better.
Show. I like show too, but I feel like we sound like old people when we say we're taping a show.
Podcast. Pod. I'm going to talk to the pod. The podcast.
All right, the last category we've got here are some words that we hate, but that they perfectly describe what they define. So that makes
They
them
are
great.
great because they're kind of...
pedophile or pedophile.
You spelled it P-E-A-D-O.
I think that's how English people spell it, and they say pedo.
I hope it's A-E. That would be even better.
Pedophile.
Pedophile.
It's just a terrible word, but it's perfectly matched.
He was a pedophile.
I mean, if you didn't know what it
You
meant,
look down your nose at them like this.
but if you didn't know, what it meant, and someone described you as a pedophile, you'd want to take your glove off and slap them in the face with it.
He was a pedophile.
Skank. The word skank. What a terrible word.
Because you know what it really means.
Yeah, but it sounds
It's not-
perfect.
but it's supposed to describe something about her.
It's perfectly matched. It's like sending a soldier in to
Little
do a
skank.
job. That guy's a bad motherfucker. We need him to go in and do a bad job.
But when you hear the word skank,
Where's
you're always
skank?
like,
Send in the skank.
Picture now. Oh, yeah.
Sphincter.
it feels like a clench.
It sounds
It's
like
a-
something that poop comes out of.
But she's sweet. Like when you...
That's a sphincter tightener.
Uh-huh.
What about skullduggery?
I don't even understand what that is. Is that evil? Is
Of course.
skullduggery just
See,
evil?
you don't even know what it is, and you just perfectly...
No, I know it's about... It feels like somebody's digging in somebody's skull, which I know is evil.
Right. If you're up to no good, you're up to skullduggery.
Right.
Cunt. Oh, I just said the C word.
Cunt.
Is there a more loaded word in the English language? I know there's one, but other than that word,
It's vile. I mean, if you call somebody
Vile is
you're
a-
really committed.
vile is a well-matched word. Buggery is a really good word.
Buggery. It is the most.
Oh, I can't believe I didn't think of this one either. This is great.
What?
Moist.
You like that one? You like that?
Oh,
I thought that was like
what a horrible,
moist.
what a horribly well-placed word. Moist. So yeah, that's our. We're concluding our little segment on words. I thought it was fun.
That was fun.
Current events.
So, Olympics.
The Olympics.
Did
So
you
you want
watch-
to talk the Olympics? Okay.
Did you watch the closing bit?
No, I'll tell you. That's funny. I don't like to watch closing ceremonies. It's almost bittersweet to me. It feels like it's ending, and I don't like watching it.
I didn't watch it either. My wife.
I especially don't like watching it when it's taped. So
we
I,
were into it for like a week, and then for some reason, our enthusiasm waned.
well, it's one of those things where I got up that morning and on my news feed it showed like pictures of it being done, but it wasn't being shown here till that night as well, and that was even doubly like I don't want to watch this.
So medal count: Norway kicked everybody's. Nope, wait. Norway with 39. Germany with how many?
31.
Germany with 31. I have a lot of German in my blood, come to find out,
Oh,
so
boy.
I take particular pride
Of course.
in that one.
Of course. Sure.
And the Netherlands is 20, the U.S. with 23.
Ich bin ein Berliner.
Ich bin ein. I have to. It's in the back of the front.
Yeah, I just thought that I put the medal count in there, Henry, because I just thought it's interesting to me how much stock the American coverage puts in these American stories, and this was our lowest medal take in like 3-4 Olympics in a row. And there's a big I don't know if you saw this. There's a big thing now about what's wrong.
What's wrong with the U.S.?
Yeah, that they might have to redo, like the Olympic Committee may get fired and stuff because we finished fourth. We only won 23 medals. But the thing is that amazes me is watching a lot of this coverage. It seemed like to me, I didn't keep up with the medal count. It seemed like to me we must have won a lot more fucking medals because they were just covering the shit out of us. You know what I mean?
Yes. Remember the figure skating guy that fell a couple of times?
Right. And there were a lot of stories of like people blowing it. There was a lot more of that, which I kind of dug.
That was kind of interesting.
I'll tell you something. I think Megan, I don't know who told her this, but somebody told her that they had watched coverage in another country. And she was like, you know what they do in the other countries when they cover an event? They just cover the event. It's just like, here's the downhill skiing. And they just show all the dudes skiing, and then they show the winners. They don't do all this like the Americans going forward. There's Lindsey Vonn practicing for her gold medal attempt. There's Michaela Schifrin. I'm like, can we just see the competition, like the actual competition? So it would be interesting to see if, like everything else in the world, we do stuff our own.
I'm not used to seeing it from that angle. I'm used to seeing it from just the American angle.
I know.
Here's Shaun White.
But
is he going to do it?
But it's almost like they think we're too dumb just to enjoy the competition.
Well, we are.
Like we have to have some sort of story behind it.
I did like the bit where, is it the Germans that turned on their side on the luge?
Oh, that flipped. Yeah, that flipped it over. Yeah,
they had their fastest run.
Yes,
and it doesn't. You don't have to be upright at the end.
No, you just have to cross the finish line.
I thought that was cool, man.
I did too.
The fastest,
and I thought it was cool
on their side.
I think theirs had flames painted on it too, which I thought was hilarious. Well, tell me, I want to revisit this as well because it seems weird that we talked last week. Kind of, I was making a joke about North Carolina's response to the whole gun control issue was to instantly try to arm teachers. I never in a million years thought that the debate nationally
would go, yeah.
But I forgot who the president of the United States is. So now, Henry, what we're debating now is not gun control. What we're debating now is whether to arm teachers.
That answer is going to be no. Well, pretty much universally across the board.
Okay, but even if that answer is no, the gun nuts win because they stopped any other argument. Right. And you know, I saw on Meet the Press, Chuck Todd said that he thinks Parkland did shift the debate to the left for common American people. But as far as legislative government response, it went to the right. Because now we're talking about arming teachers. We're not talking about gun restrictions. We're talking about more guns. Whereas more people, just common citizens, are like, this is ludicrous. We need some sort of restriction of some kind on these weapons.
In the past, what has stopped momentum on gun legislation? Is it just the normal fluctuations of the news cycle?
No, well, that's part of it, but I think there's another part that we don't even think about because we don't follow, we're not like legislative nerds. They never even bring anything to a vote. Yeah, it's not like anything's ever voted no on. They don't want to bring it to a vote because they don't want to vote.
Like the bump stock thing happened way back.
But the reason that it never became a law was they won't
bring it to a...
They won't bring it to a vote because none of them want to go on the record as voting against banning bump stocks because they don't want to be painted as killing children.
Anti-gun, they'd say.
Well, no, they don't. That's not the part that they're worried about. They don't want to be painted as you're not protecting kids that are being murdered. Well, I didn't vote. Against. I didn't vote this way because we won't bring it to a vote. They won't even bring anything to a vote. So Obama's whole battle cry after Sandy Hook was, I don't know if you remember the State of the Union. He said, bring it to a vote. You can vote no if you want to vote no, but these people deserve an up or down vote on gun legislation.
Right, and they deserve to have you go on record.
Right, that's your job. Your job is to propose legislation and either vote yes or no.
So what most people are saying, the kids aren't going to have that. They're going to keep bringing it up.
I'm saying the kids have done fabulous. Wonderful job. Yay for getting corporations to not to endorse the NRA, but the legislation. There's no just
it's the only thing that I could see it impacting now is the 2018 election.
If it doesn't peter out before then. But it's
some horrible thing.
This is another thing I want to say real quick about this. Democrats have been in power in the Congress before. It's not like Democrats.
Didn't do anything either.
Yeah, so let's not get too super excited about 2018. Kevin Smith.
Yeah, man.
I don't know.
It's kind of the wake up.
So-
He's our age.
Well, for folks out there that aren't Kevin Smith nerds, Kevin Smith was the director of Clerks, loved when we were kids.
And he was on the leading edge of podcasting.
Yes, and he's got a show on AMC, Comic Book Man or Comic Book Men. I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
And he's our age, but he apparently had a massive heart attack.
That's what he called it. Hard to know because, you know, he's a bit dramatic, but he called it a massive heart attack, but that he's still above ground. And I've seen pictures of him where he was, you know, large fella, lost about 65 pounds, but, you know, too little too late, I guess.
Sure.
He'd already done the damage.
So I think we might have time to play one more song.
Yeah.
I kind of brought this band up to you, Henry. It's just a band I like.
Yeah,
There's no real reason.
It's really good.
But I think the reason I'm still fighting this war in my head, this guitar rock is dead kind of thing.
Yep.
And I know we fought it a little bit with Dr. Mark last week about David Byrne and all that. But I heard this band, and it was refreshing, even though it did bring up a lot of stuff that we know about. I mean, it sounds like Brit rock. I mean, but anyway, the band's called Shame, and the song is called Friction. And I think we both liked it, right?
Yeah, I really liked it, yeah.
Okay, so this is Shame with Friction.
It's only
All right, Henry. Anything else you want to?
One of the things I liked
talk
about I liked that song was the guy sounds a little like Shane McGowan to me.
I noticed you
catch
said that. Yeah, I didn't
Maybe
hear it
it's
until
just the
you said that.
delivery. You know, look kind of punchy.
That whole record, he does some different.
And that particular song, it's like they're grabbing this '90s sort of lick and just re-justifying it again in a better way.
I felt,
recontextualizing.
Yeah, I felt a lot of the record that way too. Like I was like, man, this sounds familiar, but they're kind of redoing it in a way, and it didn't. It sounded to me like the singer guy's real comfortable mixing and matching different Brit rock tropes. But I think that's their first record. I'm like, how is this band this mature at this?
Yeah, because this sounds like record number 3.
It does. So
anyway, good on them, Shane.
Good on them. Well, that's our words program. Anything else you want to say?
I think that's it. Thanks for everybody for listening. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on. We are now on Spotify.
Woo!
That's a big deal for us. We can't believe they even let us on Spotify, but there we are.
We made it.
So we're right there beside all your Smith records and everything.
All your favorites.
Smith's records and all that. So anyway, thanks for everything.
Messing around, first one patio and then another, and that's
Say the
ridiculous.
words, Henry.
We ain't got no goddamn band, Chris.
We don't got no goddamn